Everything said on this podcast is entirely for entertainment purposes only. This is satirical and should not be considered clinical advice in any situation. Please use your own clinical judgment, using your own knowledge, expertise, and research. Consult with your local eye department if you are unsure, and always act in the best interest of the patient. Do not listen to the things that we say and take it seriously.
Hi guys, welcome to episode 6 of the Glasses Half Full podcast. Thanks for joining us once again. Today we will be discussing the topic of balancing pre-reg with studying and work with studying, etc. It's a really important topic. It's something that a lot of people are stressed out about, etc. We'll just give our own inputs into the point. If you can't hear a fan, please forgive us. It's our bigger and only fan. It's 20 degrees high as of today, and we're all currently melting and sweltering in this heat because we're not made for this. We live in the UK. This isn't normal. So yes, we're not going to be seeing anything useful anyway, I'm sure. So you're not going to miss out on much. So last week we discussed the pros, cons, and the topic in general of working with university or prior to university or just prior to pre-reg in the optics field as an optical assistant or something like that. Now, when it comes to balancing pre-reg with studying, we all had a certain element of COVID in our pre-regs, which does make it slightly different. Also, it feels like the pre-reg course is ever-changing considering the required numbers and how they're going about it, so on and so forth. So it's going to be pretty general. We're not going to be talking about much specifics, but is there anything that you found particularly challenging? I know you didn't find it pre-reg as a whole particularly.
No, I personally.
You make your opinion on that very well known, and then you like talking about how easy pre-reg is.
I always say pre-reg is not difficult. All you need is organization skills.
Tell us about your organization skills, Mahdi.
How did you organize beyond what you may have?
Well, you know what? It was just a matter of marking everything out that I needed as accurately as I could.
What do you mean by that?
So, for example, like in my logbook, there's that notes section.
So your logbook, did you have an electronic?
Real electronic, yeah.
Okay, you didn't use a paper one as well.
Did you have a paper one?
I had a diary that I got myself, and I did that alongside. I did my electronic on every end of the week, and then after every patient, I just fill in the paper one.
Yes.
So what I
you clearly did that as well. Very good.
Yes, my logbook was updated regularly.
So what I did is I couldn't use my iPad throughout work, like just logbook everything. So I just got an A4 piece of paper and wrote the details and wrote like a little bit about what it was.
And by details, he meant anonymized.
Like customer number.
He didn't write their names and date of birth. You wrote the customer number or the TR.
No, I wrote like I wrote
initials
the customer number.
Age, not date of
from
birth.
Customer number. So I write the customer number, and then like what I did in that meeting. So like let's say if it was a dispense, it'd be like single vision distance. Or like if it was a bit more tricky, it'd be like bifocal, I don't know, polycarbonate or something like that. And then I would kind of know if it was like a competency because it'd be a little bit more tricky. So I'd be like, okay, so this might be a competency I can put it in. And then I'd write it in my logbook and stuff, and I'd highlight it.
Okay.
So I'd know that it's going to be in a competency. And then in the competency sheets, you know, what's it called? The framework. I printed it off, and I wrote the customer number of every single one that's related to that competency on the sheet. And then I just go over
that part again.
So I print off the framework
and then
I write customer number on.
On what?
So for each competency, for each element of competence, so let's say there was one on AMD, for example.
Yes.
If he came across AMD, he would write that.
The customer number of the AMD patient
ID next
on the framework.
On the framework sheet from the college.
And at what stage would you do that? When you're doing a logbook, after you've just seen an AMD patient? Is it when you're going through the framework? This would be when I'm
preparing for my stages.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is 2 weeks before
your
visit.
Yeah, exactly.
You're going through your framework. 2 weeks is already a bit too late to start catching up on.
Yeah, Matthew, you should have done it.
Honestly, I didn't.
I mean,
think
Finn and I did this as we're going along.
I was doing Volk with one hand and updating my logbook with the other.
What I did was because it was electronic, I also filled it out electronic as well.
You did write on it.
So framework.
Yeah, I could write on it because I have my iPad. So I'd write it there, and like whilst I was filling out the actual logbook, the electronic logbook, I'd also fill it out on the framework. So when I go over it 2 weeks before the actual assessment day, I already know what I need to look at, and then I only actually studied like between applying, like sending off my paperwork and the assessment day, which is usually a week. So I only actually revised in that week because I'd go over the competency and I'm like, okay, what do I really don't know? And I'd rank them. So I'd have ticks. So 1 tick means I don't know very well. 2 ticks means I know it quite well. 3 ticks means
Because
I know
you would
it
send
amazing.
that to your assessor in advance, wouldn't you? There'd be a thing.
No, but this is after I've already sent everything off.
No, but when you sent it off, you would have sent it off with the number of ticks for how confident you are on certain areas.
That's
You
it.
can have
No,
your
that's
ticks.
your supervisor that marks it down.
You're supervised, yes.
Yeah,
You wouldn't
but
do that
this
yourself.
is my own assessment. So I would be going through it, and I would tick how confident I am. So the ones that is 1 tick, I'm like, okay, I need to study this more than the one that I have 3 ticks because I already know everything about, I don't know, like keratoconus or whatever, which I don't. But as an example, but like I know nothing about cataract, let's say,
Which you don't.
which I know nothing about.
That wasn't an example.
But so the ones that I had only 1 tick on, I'd be putting most of my revision time on that until I felt confident about that, and it kind of gave me like an even understanding of what I needed to know.
Where did you revise from for these?
Kansky was very helpful because
Really?
I love
Kansky
Kansky.
is the most overrated.
I used
honestly.
Kansky for stage 2, not for stage 1 though. I used my uni notes, not uni notes. I used uni PowerPoint. So the uni like slides, I downloaded all the uni slides before I got finished university. So
You
I
mean
had
use something that was familiar and something that had been over beforehand that was actually taught to you instead of a random book that you're opening for the first
no,
time?
I mean instead of using my notes,
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. Like,
I had the lectures. So I literally went on the lectures.
Under 40, Kansky is just so overrated.
Kansky was only good for when I didn't understand a topic, and I'm like, I
Kansky
don't
is
know.
good when you are.
When it has a niche bit of information. That
Yeah,
you just can't
exactly,
imagine.
exactly.
When you look at like an. When you're looking at something that you don't know what it is, and it's not.
So
a
like for
typical
example,
resolution.
let's say there was one like on non-arteritic ischemic optic neuropathy and then arteritic ischemic optic neuropathy. Like I struggled to like realize
Really?
the difference between them.
Okay, so what I'm gathering is that nothing you said is groundbreaking or especially difficult. It's basically you're just staying on top of your logbook.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything that stands out, you're adding to it, which is what it
Yeah.
was, which is what the advice was anyway.
Exactly.
And then you're filling in your framework as you kind of ideally you yourself would want to fill out your framework as you're going along.
Yeah.
Sometimes it happens later than others.
Yeah.
And then you're assessing how well you know the topic.
You know what? When I say I do it at the same time, it's because I'm filling out my logbook the day before and send everything off anyway.
That's not good. You should be doing it regularly on a daily
This
basis.
isn't on the thing, is it?
This is.
Oh, okay.
But this is the experience. You
Yeah.
know, it's
Yeah, but I like because I would honest to God, I wasn't someone that liked studying or spread out my studying in regular amounts of things like that. I was literally like, I need to learn this. This is the time frame I have. Let me just do it. But I think that the
So
moment
you're
where
telling me you weren't studying regularly during your pre-reg?
no, I wasn't.
you were doing 3 hours after work every single day.
Of course I
I'm
wasn't.
disappointed.
That's
So
really
I think my tactic.
No.
I did about a week each one.
I stopped.
I started.
Sorry, your tactic was?
My tactic,
Yes.
the when I clocked my tactic was working was when I passed stage 2.
2/3.
Yeah.
When you're
I
finished,
thought-
when pre-reg was done,
Well,
then I realized, oh, this
when
might
there's-
work.
When it's just the OSCE left,
No,
I'm like, hold on, I
let
might
me-
be on something.
Let me tell you why, because stage 2 was like.
I realized I visit 2.
Stage 2 was the one that I was most. I wasn't scared of the Oscars. I was scared of stage 2. I was like full on like, oh my god, I need to pass this. So when I passed it, I was like, okay, maybe what I'm doing is fine.
Did you not realize, like, by visit 2?
No, because like my assessor was like, yeah, you're doing them well. You're going in the standard route as everyone else goes.
But did you not notice that that was happening with minimal effort?
I mean, it was happening with minimal effort, but stage 2, I put a little bit more effort in.
Oh, I didn't.
So stage 2.
You didn't?
Stage 2, because
two
when I
was
say
sweat.
organized, like I was literally I wasn't studying excessively. I was just organized in what I studied.
I think I got short notice for stage 2, that's why. Mine was,
Oh yeah, yours was.
remember
very
when the college
weird.
website reset and they had like the system was down for like a few days or something?
They do that like
when they changed the
every-
website format at the end of.
Sure. Because I'm checking the college website on a
He
regular
was-
basis.
he-
As in,
You'd already passed
oh,
everything.
you'd passed the stage.
Yeah, yeah.
So around like
I was going on the college website.
October,
What website is it?
October, November, December, around about that time, they were having like a 2 week point where the website was going to be down while they were building the new one or something. There was some kind of transition, and everybody who was on the scheme on the old website had to manually be transferred across to the new one. And my name was like at the bottom of that list for some reason. I kept on calling the college, and at the end of it, they said, "Listen, I've got your name and a post-it on my desk right now of like the 3 that I need to ring today. So we know what's happening with you." Because I passed my I passed my stage 1 in like November, and I didn't get any dates for my stage 2 until like late January, early February. So for 2 months, I was just like, I'm waiting for a date for my assessment, please.
So did you?
And I wasn't studying at that time, no.
What was your study methodology?
For stage 1.
For stage 1,
Yeah,
Was there?
it was a very
methodology?
targeted. It was a very targeted one. I thought to myself, if I know I'm going to come across this competency in visit 3, I'm not going to revise for it on visit 1.
Yeah.
I was like, this is what I need to know for now, and this is what I will kick the can down the road, and I'll learn that later. Obviously, you need to know everything every day because you're in practice and you have patience, and you learn as you go along because of the patients that you come across and the stuff that you learn in practice. But as opposed the course of theory and studying the physiology and anatomy and all that stuff, as it came up, I would tend to study in advance for each assessment in appropriate time.
We're going to get a time frame, and then you just realise it's too short.
Well, as I sent off my data, my things to the assessor
As
one
the
week before.
assessor told me that he was on his way in.
Yeah,
I thought that
when they
counts.
said connecting to Zoom, I opened Kansky and I said, let's go. No,
Sorry from A.
It would be a few weeks, a week or 2 in advance. 3 or 4 weeks before, it would be like gentle revision, but then it would start to ramp up. And at stage 1, you're doing an assessment every month or 2 anyway. So
I want to talk about preconceived notions of pre-reg and its difficulty. I was told, or I was always until I did it, under the impression that pre-reg would be the hardest type.
That's what I was told.
Is that
it was pretty tough. It wasn't as hard as it was made out to be, but it was pretty tough.
I don't know how much of mine is based upon the fact that I had so much downtime, being furloughed and everything, and also having large.
Did you study during your furlough?
No.
Study Verdansk. Come on, man. But no, my point was that there was no pressure. It was not back to back to back. It was very spaced out.
Yeah, you have like 3 weeks, I guess, of pressure, and then that's gone for the next 2 months.
No, but the assessments were only about 2 months apart anyway.
Yeah, so
But for me, it was a lot longer than that. It wasn't okay. I'm on to the next one. I'm on to the next one. It's like okay.
for me, it was quite spread out as well.
1 o'clock playing COD.
Look, so like I started my pre-reg on like in October. My first stage 1 was in like February.
Yeah, but you just didn't officially start your pre-reg until January, so
No, December.
you were an OA in.
But yeah,
October.
but I didn't have my first stage 1. That was February.
You were
And the next
pre-testing.
one
You were
was in-
pre-testing until Christmas.
Next one was in like April, and then it was in June, and then stage 4 was in July, and then I had my stage 2 in November, and then I had my
July till November was a long time.
exactly. So that was stage
Why
2,
did you
stage
switch? Why
4,
was your stage 4?
stage 4.
Stage 4.
Sorry,
Wow.
visit 4.
You're on the next one.
So visit 4 to stage 2. Why was there such a gap? I thought you could enroll in stage 2 straight away.
Because I kept postponing.
There's an
it.
option, isn't there? There's a feature that you have
August,
to go.
sorry, August was visit 4.
Yeah.
I booked it for July, but I had to postpone it because I didn't have one of my competencies.
Okay, so you finish your stage 1,
Yeah.
and they say to you, "This is a pass. Your stage 1 is complete. Go on the college website and tick that box, and then we will send you a date
That
for
was
your
in August.
stage 2."
That was in August.
Why was it in November? Stage 2.
Backlog, I don't know.
Or did you do it straight away? You didn't delay yourself.
No, I just ticked it straight like this the day after I got my results.
Oh, so it was everybody was delayed. It wasn't just me.
Yeah.
Okay. So my
But that was amazing for me
Yeah.
because I had 2 months, and then what I would do, 3 weeks before stage 2, I still couldn't drive, so I was taking the bus. So before I like finished work, I downloaded some of the scenarios, and I just on the bus ride home, I'd like just annotate the scenarios.
were you that guy sitting on the
Just
bus
like, yeah.
with his iPad
Like-
like writing his
But then,
notes out?
like after like doing like
You're a
4 of
loser.
them, I was like, well, I don't need to learn how to annotate. I need to learn like what I need to say to the assessor on what I'm going to do.
So you sat on the bus talking to people.
So no, what I practiced is looking at what I need to be doing. So I'd miss out everything that looks normal and just annotate the important bits.
Explain this in great.
So scenarios given.
Yes.
At the start, I'd be going through every single information given to me.
What scenario, for example?
I don't know. They just give you like a
cases.
patient case.
Okay, this is in stage 2.
Stage 2.
The overarching.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know the one with the 88 patient files?
Yeah. 100.
106.
Wow, you know different numbers.
I had 88 in my head for some reason. What's 88?
I know it was over 100.
Yeah, it was 108 or something. That's why.
No, what is 88 though? There's something that's 88 in optometry. I can't remember. Or is it something else?
Clearly, it's not important if we don't know it.
Yeah, clearly. So you have one of the things, and you're just going through it, skim reading.
Yeah,
and
so
you're highlighting.
at the start, I'd be going through every single bit. I'm like, okay, is this important? Do I need to recognize this as being something that's of significance? And then I'd like, after like a couple, I'm like, well, this is useless because I'm not going to gain anything from this. So then I started just doing how quickly can I go through this scenario and get the information that I need so I know how I'm going to deal with this patient. Because you get an hour before the overarching, don't you, to go over the 8 scenarios that they give you. So you need to be able to go over them quickly and then learn what you need to do.
How did you plan for the overarching part of your stage 2?
By just practicing through the case scenarios.
So you just work through the case scenarios?
I didn't work through all of them. I worked through
For lack of time? Lack of effort?
Lack of time.
I had lack of time, but I did only 33.
Okay.
I didn't do 30. I did more than 33.
I did at least 2 from each book, like set of 10.
Yeah, I went to each
then
set of 10
I went on the matrix as well and made sure I did like enough from each range.
of competencies.
But,
yeah. So you
so
did a
I
few contact
covered
lenses, you
everything.
did a few
Exactly.
pediatrics, you did a few
So then basically,
binocular visions.
so that's why I was said I skim read through the scenarios, because it was more of a case of you need to know what you're going to say rather than know every single scenario, because they're not going to test you on the scenario, they're going to test you on your knowledge.
Also, I found really beneficial was applying that formula to your own practice. So each day you'd see a couple of interesting cases, go to your supervisor with it at the end of the day at 5 o'clock and sit down and say, "Hi, I saw this patient today. Do you mind just having a run through with me?"
Did you do that?
No.
Did you actually do that?
As in, he wouldn't ask me any questions, but then, as in,
No.
forget going to your supervisor. Look at your own patient notes and just think to yourself.
Just think.
Think to yourself, if I'm looking at this file as an as an assessor, let's say for example you saw somebody with AMD, and then you look at it, you're looking at your own notes and you've seen what you've recorded as drusen, and then you think to yourself what else is missing from that part of it. Is there subretinal fluid? Is there edema on OCT? Have I done an OCT? Have I done AMSLA? What would an AMSLA look like? At what distance is the AMSLA? You think of all the follow-on questions that come from each point on your own file, and you just think through that stuff.
Yeah.
One thing I also did
I found that beneficial.
Again, I got the overarching competency. I did that whole tick thing again, and then I just relearned everything I wasn't confident in.
Okay. You both have got it wrong. Okay. Let me explain why.
How did you do it?
I don't care how
Make
many...
that make sense.
I know why they couldn't do it my way, and I'll explain why. First of all, what you need to do, so there's let's say 100 cases.
Yeah.
You need to get, say for sake of the numbers, make it easy, 4 friends. You guys have already stumbled at the first block. 4 people, okay? And you need to divide up the cases. Okay, so you each just do 20. Both of these guys did more than 20. Okay, Medi at lower end did 30 something. So this is even less, so you can give even more time. So we'll just go over that. It doesn't have to take long. We gave ourselves 1 week, okay? We said, oh yeah, by then next week, we'll have these 20 done, etc. And then on every day, we just, for about an hour and a half, went through it. Something particularly difficult or particularly interesting in it, we'd highlight that because that's the point that needs to be spoken about. And I found this, apart from the obvious reasons, is because we picked it from the same competencies. So we're learning from the previous one and adding on to the next one. And we're not having to start over and learn a whole new topic. We're not having to learn pediatrics and we've just been doing binocular vision. I will just do binocular vision. My friend will just do pediatrics. So he's a bit more well versed in pediatrics, so he can help explain that a little bit better. And I can do the same with binocular vision. And that way I found it more effective on time. I wasn't studying.
Was that not like a given that you're going to do this with other people?
You guys had mentioned doing it with other people.
Not
I know Medi's got no friends.
Not
so I know
everyone
he
is as
didn't do it
popular
with
as
anyone
you.
else. Well, make friends.
No, I will say that's a good way to do OSCE.
It's not bad. Personally, I don't like working with people because I just find like
no put some same effort.
Not even that. It's just I get distracted really easily when I'm with friends, colleagues.
Okay.
But like I
There's
feel like
nothing wrong with that.
there's nothing wrong
There's
with
nothing
it.
wrong with
Oh, by the way,
but I learn better on my own. It's just how I am.
You got 33 done. I got 100.
No,
Yeah, but I passed.
but
in
you
my own way.
know what you would do with your friends is present this case in every stage 2 competency. What he'll say to you is, tell me about the file, tell me
Yeah.
what's interesting about it, tell me what tests are missing, what you would do, and tell me what the outcome and the management would be. That's going to be the same question for every single case. So if you can do that yourself to every case, that's good.
Yeah.
That one, and then anything coming from there will be follow-up questions. So what I did with Mehdi actually was I made him pick out random cases at different points. So
I remember I practiced for you.
so if I was on the bus, I'd say, for example, Mehdi, give me a case. He would give me a case. I would look at it for 5 minutes. He'd time me, and then he'd say, "Now give me the voice notes." I'd send him a voice note and say, "This patient is a 75-year-old male, has a drusen, AMD," and then I'd go through all the relevant findings, and then he'd ask me further questions on that over text or over voice note. That was a good way of doing it in the spare time, but that was me trying to cram revision into the gaps in my
one thing that for me, the reason why I only did it like 33 scenarios is because I wasn't practicing what would come up. It was more practicing on how
methodology to work through
it. Because what that helped me to do was when I got my 8 scenarios and I had an hour to go through it, I quickly went through each one, saw the highlights and saw the points that I was weak at, and I just go research the bits that I don't know. So there's this whole point. There was this like one scenario which had like binocular vision and stuff, and I literally went down to lag and lead, and then it came up and I answered it. Like that really works for me. So I went through the competencies. I just learned the competencies.
Because they give you an hour, don't they?
They give you an hour.
I didn't get an hour.
Why not? You got 55 minutes.
No, I got way less than that.
How?
I can't remember the exact timings, but it was stupidly late as well. By the way, my assessment started at 4 p.m., which means they sent the case at 4:30. Sorry, the Zoom call was meant to start at 4:30, so they were meant to send the case at 3:30. At like 4:05, I'm like emailing frantically, ringing numbers, thinking where the hell's my cases, and then I get it at 10 past, and he goes. At 1:30, I joined the call, and I said I've only had it for 20 minutes. And he goes, "Oh, I'll give you a bit longer, then I'll just stay on the call, keep your camera on." And then 10 minutes in, I just felt too awkward. I said, "Go on then, start."
You would have benefited from some pre-written notes on each of the competencies, on each of the case scenarios, which you would have had if you went through with your friends. And then
personally, I don't think you need that.
Why? Do you not think more information?
But do you think that if I'm gonna,
it would
in my assessment, if I pull up like a PDF that Mehdi's written on the bus, with his little
you want me to show you what a PDF?
Do you think that's gonna give me any beneficial knowledge that I can't gain within 30 seconds of looking at it myself?
Yeah.
What insights is he gonna give me that I can't?
No, because he's not.
You've got an hour to look at 8 files. You can whatever he's gonna give you, you can pull out in the first 30 seconds. Because if you've done it enough times yourself, you know how you have the right approach to look at that document and extract all the information yourself because it's your assessment. You should know how to do that. In theory, they should be able to give you a new case scenario that's not on the college website, and you should be able to do the same thing with that.
But for some of them that are a bit more niche, okay, it's not just off the top of your head information.
Okay? No, it's not. But
what's so niche and hidden? It's everything.
It's not about niche. For me, it was more like picking out what was important.
The important thing is you have to pick out what's a normal result for that test, what's an abnormal, what things on that finding are. For you to look at that file and say, wait a minute, there's not a field test here, and this is like a family history glaucoma, why isn't there a field test?
No, obviously, I'm not going to be like, oh my god, thank god Mehdi told me that this patient is seeing 624, I wouldn't have noticed that. Like, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about it's nice just to see the fact that, okay, this kid's got stereopsis at 240, how old are they? 8 years old. Okay, that's a bit low for that age. I should be wanting around, 60 or something like that, and just have like a little chart for that. I mean, or have a case of, okay, these results of the color vision defect shows, tritanopia, or this one shows, something else, something like that, and have just that.
You have an hour. It's plenty of time.
But why would you not want to make it easier for yourself? Why would you want to give yourself more stuff to do?
No, it's good. It's good that if to go through as many scenarios as you can. But the fact of the matter is that if you're gonna, let's say in my case, study 2-3 weeks before your stage 2 assessment, you don't have time to go through 100 odd scenarios.
This is how you can.
Well, no, but I don't like reading off other people's notes because I don't trust other people's notes.
No, but I wasn't just handed their notes. They spoke through it, and then I annotated.
I don't
myself.
like that.
Why not?
I learn better by writing things myself.
But if I'm
Because
saying,
I
if
write
I'm
it in-
presenting to
because
you a
I
case,
read something, I write it in my words, and then I go and like read up on what I'm meant to be doing, and if it matches, then I know I've got it right.
no, but if I sat with you on a Zoom call for an hour and I went through cases 1 through 12, and I ran through the case and told you what I think are the abnormal values,
I'd be
what
showing off my
test,
brain.
would you not sit there annotating
No,
what I'm saying to you?
my brain would be
with
shut
your
off.
own hand and
Me
your own
teaching
pen.
you would teach me how how.
So you just can't get taught by somebody else.
It's difficult.
So it's a personal.
Yeah, it's just this is purely personal.
Okay.
That's just how like I learn.
How did? Why did you pay
graduate?
Why did you pay £9,500 to university to lecture you? And you just sat there like, oh, shut up, man!
Yeah.
Now I want to teach you this.
Do you know?
Don't teach me. I'll teach you.
Do you know why I never turned up to the lectures? It's because I just read the PowerPoint.
That is not
And
good
that's
advice.
why-
That's not good
That is
advice.
not good.
Don't
It's
do
not
that.
good
It's
That's
not.
why you missed the hidden slides in ocular health, and that's why you failed your
The
ocular health.
hidden slides.
Yeah, do you remember there was like a 30 marker on a hidden slide that you put up? The ocular health in second year.
No, because you could.
One of
in
the,
ocular health, you can choose the other one.
Which one?
There was two.
Not the essays. There was
questions.
in the normal questions. There was like a 15 marker, which
The
was
corneal
like
graft one.
the types and
Yeah, no,
compare and contrast the
yeah,
types
no, I
of
knew that
corneal
one.
graft
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
injections.
No, but what it was when it came to studying, I was all about efficiency because I knew
There's
a lot.
nothing efficient about anything you said.
No, because I know a lot of people that are
That's
like,
an efficiency.
no, like
You
I'm
described
trying to
it.
talk.
a
Yeah,
lot of
describe-
people that I know that they're revising. What they do, they write out the competencies and then write like what they need to study.
Oh my god, there's 3 lines which basically sums AMD.
But yeah, I know, but
Management, treatments, diagnosis, differentials, yes.
My point
but
was
AMD.
why instead of writing out what competencies you need to go, just get the bloody framework and just go highlight what you need to learn and just learn it.
Both of you are stupid.
Why?
Both of you are stupid.
Why? Like
Just print the document off. That's all you need
what
to
document?
do. The framework. Just print it off. That's all you need to do.
Yeah,
that's what he said.
That's what I said. Print it off and then just highlight what you need to learn.
No, you don't need to highlight the word AMD. Just look at it and know that that's AMD. Read the word.
Just look at AMD. God, it's all in here now.
You know that 2 lines of
Question me.
You know the framework. You know that 2 lines of competence that was like basically just means AMD.
Yeah.
Yeah. For you to go on with the highlighter and highlight the word AMD.
I'm not
is
talking about
stupid.
specifically AMD. I'm talking about
Okay,
like, the
glaucoma.
binocular stuff and things like that. So like if like it's talking about like be able to assess subjectively like binocular vision and stuff. Like if I'm not
Oh no, it's not highlighting
versed
the
on
word
that,
subjective.
I just circle it and then get back to it when I need to learn it. Instead of like writing them out and everything, just quickly circle it, and then when I'm going over what I need to study, I'm like, okay, well I've done this, I need to learn this now.
For argument's sake, would writing it on a separate piece of paper, which is more accessible to you, not make it easier to just?
I just found it a waste of time. Like the information is there anyway, you just go through it.
Instead of flicking through 40 pages, just checking each page to see if there's something circled,
But
you
by
just
the
have on a
time-
piece of paper beside you.
No, because I don't know. For me, it's just a waste of time. For me.
Personal preference.
I know, but
No, but that's what it is. It's like somebody else could be like, "Are you actually ridiculous? You're going to flip through 40 pages, look for something that's circled when you could just have a
yeah, but
post-it right beside you. Why would you not want to do
these
that?"
are the frameworks that you've already been through like 20 times because you've gone through them in the previous stages anyway. So you already know what they look like, and they're numbered very well anyway. So it's going to be like 8.1.3 or something. You already know what 8's going to be near the end, so you just pull up to the end and you find it quickly. It's not you're not going through the first page onwards, and it's not tricky, and you kind of know where they are.
Or it's a post-it on your desk.
Because I mean, yeah, but I don't know. Writing things down wasn't that. Like, I didn't really like. I only wrote down things that I just didn't know. So like one thing that I remember writing down was the color vision. Like color vision, I was confused on it. Not the gene bit, but the type of color vision and things like that and what it meant. So I'd write that down because I need that ingrained.
Write down as a learning method, or write it down as I need to go back and look at this method.
So I'd write down what I needed to know. So then when
in actual just studying, you'd write down.
Yeah, like relearning it, but
okay.
I'd write it concise.
Of course.
Just
Why
everything.
would you not?
Exactly. But I'd write like what you need to know and what they probably won't ever question you on would not be in there. Do you know what I mean?
How do you know what they're going to question you on?
Because there are some things that like it's
You're
just not going to
assuming.
tell. No, it's more like side points rather than actual clinical advice and things like that. I don't know what to give, like what example to give. But when you read through, like, there's a lot of jargon that just isn't needed.
Okay, it's
So,
a
like,
grey area.
So, like, for example, Ishihara, let's say, it's like you're meant to do it at daylight conditions and 70 centimeters and da 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 da. So I just wrote Ishihara at 70 daylight. That's one line.
Okay, so you're still writing the same.
Yeah. But like cutting out all the nonsense bits.
So you're not cutting out any points. You're just
No, not any major points. No.
Or any points at all. You still covered all 3 points. Ishihara 7 centimeters.
I guess.
So you just did it in fewer words.
Okay, but what I would cut out is when I like read over something and I'm like, well, I already knew this. I wouldn't write that in my studies because I already know it.
Okay, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it'd be concise points, that things that I either forget very frequently or I don't know. And then when it came to, like, I don't know, the day before the actual stage, I have like seven A4 sheets, single-sided, of stuff that I need to go over. I just read through them 2 or 3 times and I'm done.
What did you find the hardest? What did you not? Okay. What did you think the hardest part of pre-reg should be, and what did you actually find the hardest part of pre-reg should be?
Stage 2.
I thought stage 2 would be the hardest. Stage 2 wasn't actually too. It was quite hard, but it wasn't too bad in hindsight, because all the preparation you do in stage 1 prepares you for stage 2. There's nothing new in stage 2. It's all exactly the same. It is basically all of your last 3 or 4 or 5 visits combined into one. So rather than knowing that she's gonna assess me on these 17 competencies is anywhere in the 75, that's the only curveball, that's everything. However, by that point, because you've revised everything in advance of visit 1 to 4 or 5, in stage 2 you already know it all.
So what was your most tricky one then?
Somewhere between stage 2 and the OSCE. The direct observation wasn't too bad, actually. It was the overarching. It was just the stress of knowing everything in that moment.
That was what I was most. Yeah. Like I was not scared of the OSCE. Although OSCE
I was a little bit scared of the OSCE.
Like a lot of people like genuinely find OSCEs difficult. For me, I was not afraid of it. I was just like, well, it's either a pass or a fail, and
yeah, for me it was like, I don't want to resit this OSCE. I don't want to make this journey again.
Yeah.
Like, I don't mind doing stage 2 again from my own practice and from my bedroom with a Zoom open, but I'm not getting this train again.
But like I don't know. I wasn't as I certainly didn't prepare as much for OSCEs, and I certainly wasn't as frightened of doing the OSCEs as I was for stage. I remember in stage 2, I was like in the overarching, I was trembling because he was like questioning me so much, and I was like fully like answering them wrong. Well, I thought I was anyway, but I passed. And then when I went to talk to my peers, they were all like, "Well, yeah, that's what they meant to do. They acted very cold just to keep you on edge." But yeah, I did not like stage 2 at all.
I don't want to feel any part of it. Just because I knew it set me back, and COVID already set me back so much, and
just want to get it out of the way.
It's just like every month that you pass is a month that you're still on minimum wage, and these pre-regs these days are making 20 grand a year. I wasn't making 20 grand a year. Just tell me about
20?
it. Yeah, I was talking to pre-regs 2 days ago. They were 20 grand. They're complaining about 20 grand a year.
In the old store.
In a store, I'm not gonna say.
Okay.
But yeah, I was,
minimum. How much was minimum wage when we did it?
1,100 a month. I think I was taking home.
I was 13.
30, something like that. 1,300 a month.
12 or 13.
Yeah, mine's like 11, 12.
Yeah.
It was 16 a year, I believe.
Yeah.
I think it was 13 gross now.
And to immediately go into doubling that, I wasn't looking to put that off. But I found OSCEs the most difficult, and I don't think it was particularly close.
Really?
Yeah, so piggybacking on what Shoaib said, everything you learned in stage 1, stage 2, and even OSCEs, it's revisiting things you learned in university. You passed in university, you showed that you're competent, you showed that you know what you're talking about, and then you're going over it again in stage 1, going over it again with a bit more information because you've actually dealt with it in practice. In theory and practice is the same, in practice it's not.
Yeah.
And then you're going over again in stage 2, and it's not new information. Stage 2 wasn't it was hyped up to be, and it was, I guess, a more taxing experience. But I didn't find it actually
I
any
think
more
the problem is
difficult.
with stage 2 is because if they just asked you about or tell me about the different types of AMD, then it would be straightforward. But it's going into the very nitty gritty of every point.
It's very niche.
Is knowing all the niche bits and bobs. So you
Yeah.
always forget immediately afterwards. Like if I asked you what distance some of the contrast sensitivity tests would be done at, you wouldn't have a clue. You wouldn't know what a contrast sensitivity test is. Never mind what distance is that and what illumination you need.
Telly-Robson, is it close to your heart?
What's Telly-Robson?
Yes, 40 centimeters. With what wattage of bulb do you need and what? Exactly. So knowing all that stuff and just retaining all that information that you know you're going to forget, that is short-term memory. Retaining that much short-term memory for all 75 competencies in their 13 overarching formats, that was the difficult thing. It was just having all those little loose strings that you're holding on to for that one day and immediately letting go afterwards. The OSCE was difficult because it was, am I going to get a curveball? Am I going to get a difficult scenario?
And it was applied knowledge as well.
And then it was applied knowledge. If I slip up in that moment, it's very timed. Like in my stage 2, there was one point where I said, "Can I just please carry on and I'll come back and answer this one later?" And he asked me a similar question later, which I answered, and then he went back to the same question. He was looking for ESEG bifocal as an option for prism control, with distance and near, and I didn't say Franklin split ESEG, and then he said, "Okay, let's just move on." And later on, I gave that answer to a different question, and he went, and went through the notes to like scenario 1 and goes, "Now, what other alternative option is there for this one back in scenario 1?" And I said, "Oh."
They just gave
and then you had an epiphany and you thought out of nowhere it must be Franklin split.
Yes,
of course.
I said it very sarcastically, so he's like, "Yes, well done, thank you."
That's not. I didn't find.
You won't get that in an OSCE.
I did not get that in stage 2. My assessor was so cold. I thought you wanted to kill me because I was answering.
No, mine literally made it his life mission to pass me that.
You get that variety. Yeah. I've had some assessors that some people that colleagues celebrate what we're getting.
I mean,
like,
you know what? My direct observation one, I knew I was going to pass that one. He was very relaxed, and I chatted to him more than I did the actual assessment.
Whilst covering all the required points, of course.
Well, yeah, you do the whole assessment. The assessment took 2 hours, but I was talking to him for about 3. It's just about life because he knew some of my lecturers and things like that, and it was just interesting.
But they're all very fair to everyone, sure.
Yeah.
I'm not involved in this point.
You said your piece.
No, I just said that I had a very nice experience. It was a lovely assessment. I learned a lot.
The reason why I found OSCEs the most difficult is because of the unfamiliar environment. And that isn't mentioned, I haven't spoken about it. With your stage 2, going to sleep in the same bed, taking the same route home, waking up, having the same breakfast, same route there, same room, same people, same staff, same equipment, everything's comfortable. They're coming to you or it's over Zoom, whatever it may be. That's at your, clinic, etc. For me, it was a very comfortable experience and didn't really think much of it until at the time we were starting.
Yeah.
OSCEs, it starts well in advance. You're booking the flights for people in Scotland. You're booking the flights. You're booking the hotels.
Wait, you took a flight?
Yeah, it was in London.
Train
to get down in 6-7 hours when I can just fly down in an hour.
Nightmare.
I had to get a train from the station, whichever station it was.
No, but oh yeah, to Heathrow.
Yeah, wherever into King's Cross. And then you're having to make your way through London. I am not a fan of London at all. I do not frequent it. It's not my favorite place. Anybody that will listen will know this to me, know this about me. But yeah, and then you're making your way.
What are your thoughts on London, actually?
Awful.
Horrendous.
Most overrated city.
Very overrated.
I do not get the pride that Londoners have about being from London.
Sorry?
It's an interesting city.
You're allowed to like London, that's fine.
No,
I don't.
You're not allowed to.
I prefer Manchester.
Yes.
Manchester's overrated.
Manchester's good. London is unnecessary.
It's just
unnecessary.
Yeah, to exist.
No.
The economy might need it.
Why is London here?
I got off the train and within about 30 seconds I
wanted to go back.
I felt the contempt that all Northerners feel towards the south. I just saw this was in 21, wasn't it? No, 22. Yeah, so I saw like a 22 plate electric black cab, and I thought to myself, this is why we hate this app.
Do you have money?
Yeah, there's been investment in infrastructure. No, it can't be.
From privately owned
Where's the
vehicles?
potholes?
Oh, okay, sorry. You
Yeah.
guys have it good here. Sheffield roads are not bad.
They're not that bad.
They're
They're
not
not that bad.
They're horrendous in the place that I live.
Yeah. So and then you're having to wake up. You're having to wait in a queue outside. But because I was in the first
Oh,
batch,
yeah.
thankfully I was in the first batch.
Yeah.
8
I had to-
a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to wait in that long queue outside, just trying to awkwardly make conversation with someone who's shitting his brains out beside you, who's got all this stress, and you're trying not to get stressed out. You're wondering, should I be doing some last minute vision? Should I be just recovering? Should I be praying?
No, what you
What
should
should I
be
be
doing in
doing?
that moment is you should be scaring everybody else by just by.
Lowering the pool.
I heard
average.
there's like a lead.
Oh, my mate was doing it yesterday. Yeah, there was something on microtropias. Yeah, I actually got a station about microtropias.
Yeah, I got
That was
notifications about it, which is the closest I got to
It was
that.
a microtropia.
I
What kind
don't
of
know.
pesky
For
station?
me, the reason I like, I'm not gonna say I enjoyed the OSCE, but I wasn't stressed at the OSCE. I don't know, purely because I feel like I was capable of just ignoring what I did in the previous station. So if I completely fumbled the station, which I did on a couple, I'd be like, okay, well, fair enough. I've still got another few I can try. And I don't. By the end of it, I didn't feel like I have flopped enough to fail. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, we'll have other episodes on OSCEs and
Yeah.
hopefully invite guests to talk about OSCEs. So that's such a huge topic, and there's so we can talk about that. But I found that not academically the hardest part.
It's
But I
there's
found-
a lot of stress on. Yeah.
It's a very different experience.
Definitely.
It's a measure of your nerves and your ability
Yeah.
to work under pressure, because a lot of optometry is working under high pressure and
responding to what's right in front of you.
responding to what's in front of you, dealing with a very complicated patient, and then leaving and having to take a deep breath and go into another one and
Yeah.
start from scratch, which may be just as complicated, if not worse.
But that being said, I don't feel like the OSCEs. I feel like the OSCEs, in terms of pressure, is just way more pressure than anything that I've ever experienced.
I've had
in
worse.
clinic.
I've had worse clinics.
I don't think I've
not.
had
I
that.
didn't feel any pressure in the OSCEs.
You didn't feel any pressure.
Clinic, the day-to-day clinic, most no, not most, but I didn't feel any pressure in the OSCEs. Where are you getting the pressure from?
No, and what I'm saying is, in the clinic, I don't feel like there's nearly enough pressure in the clinic than there is in the OSCEs.
What do you mean?
I think the OSCEs has much more pressure than you actually experience in the clinics.
Psychological pressure because you know you're taking an OSCE, yes.
Yeah.
Actual pressure in terms of responding to patients that are in front of you in the time scale that you've got and doing management and coming up with differentials and all that stuff, definitely not.
But
OSCE was much more.
for me, I was like,
But this
I don't
is
know.
our personal
This is
experience.
why your
Yeah,
clinic
yeah.
is a joke, by the way.
this is why what?
Your clinic is a joke.
My clinic is-
It makes the OSCEs look hard.
You see no pathology.
I don't see much pathology.
You stresses out when you see
I
cataract.
did have 3 referrals today, but 4
Three-
referrals.
three-
today.
ooh,
I had 4
four.
referrals today.
A cataract patient seeing 6, 7. No, I've had because we worked in the same place. Like half the days there were considerably worse than any
For
OSCE.
you, not for me.
Because of me, yeah. But yeah. Okay.
But no, that's more pressure of the making the clinic run smoothly.
No, not as in we're running behind. I'm talking about patient interactions.
Really?
Yeah, the OSCE. I didn't. Maybe it's just because I didn't go into the OSCE as stressed, even though the OSCE I did find was a bit more stressful. Not once you got in.
Also, the running behind, the fact that you're in one patient episode in the OSCE with the knowledge that this is set for time and I'm going to walk out of here when that bell goes and I'm going to forget about it and then I'm going to see the next one. It doesn't matter if I don't finish this. That's relaxing in some ways. When I'm in clinic and I know that there's 3 minutes left until the next one is due to be seen, I know that I still have to manage this one.
Yeah, but
And even if I don't, I'm still going to have to write the referral letter or still do the follow-ups
But in
test.
clinic, if you do the main things that you need to do and you're still not getting the answer that you want, you end up referring.
Oh,
them
not
because
the
you don't know
not
what's
not
wrong
the
with them.
thing you want. I mean, just in terms of that day, knowing that, for example, you're seeing something really complicated in front of you, you know that you're going to have to send them for fields. You're going to have to send them for an OCT. You're going to have to dilate them and bring them back in again, see them again, write the referral letter. manage expectations, have a word with the parent or carer who's with them. That's all stuff that's sitting in the back of your mind. Whereas in OSCE, at the end of it, in the last minute, you're going to say to the assessor, I would like to order a fields test, I would like to do an OCT, and I would refer to this.
I get that.
There's not a stress of
No,
having to do
I
more.
get how that can be very stressful for a lot of people.
But not me, because I'm
No.
different.
I know.
So the pressure in an OSCE, But yeah, I found that there wasn't much pressure because also when you leave, it resets, everything's fine, it's a new patient, it's
Yeah.
a new starting, etc. The past doesn't work. Also, it's not real. It's not
That's
real.
true.
It's much more difficult having a conversation about a mom whose kid has actually got amblyopia than it is when you're in a station and you just have to
Those actors are really good, man. They make you feel.
get the Academy one.
They start crying.
Wow.
Maybe you
but
failed
know-
that station
Oh no, I definitely feel. I failed that station. There was I had a microtropia.
because you made the patient cry.
They weren't crying. They weren't acting.
You made them believe that they're actually gonna die.
No, the microtropia was it was one of those ones where I got a case file and I had to answer
I
questions
thought
on
you
it.
said you made the patient that had a microphone.
No. The only patient that cried was
But like, in one of my
the routine aftercare contactions. Them in tears, mate.
Like one of my patients was a carcinoma, a melanoma on the eyelid. Okay.
Okay.
My only stress was I need to get this right.
Yeah.
The patient's not at any risk.
But you don't want to be
Oh,
that
because
guy who like
in-
misses like a melanoma in an OSCE. Imagine that guy, and then the OSCE.
Oh wait, you have
The
to do
assessors are
this.
like, oh, like I'm not gonna pass you in it, but I don't think you should be practicing. If this was a real patient, you'd be in jail.
Just go to the patient. So I'm seeing 2 discs in this eye.
Yes, I'm seeing double.
You have the rarest eye. You have 2 optic nerves in the same eye. What do you mean melanoma? when the OSCE assessor refers you for fitness to practice from an OSCE, you know that.
Thanks for joining us today. We'll see you next
Wait,
week.
no.
See you
Don't
then.
finish it like that.
We're ending it like that.
No.
I ended like that. I beg you.
Don't.
One of my OSCE stations was a basal cell carcinoma. In the station, my only pressure was I need to get this right, I need to pass, I need to get my OSCEs out of the way. In the real world, no, this patient is suspected to potentially have cancer. This is a completely different pressure, completely different stress.
Fair
so
enough.
the fact that the stress inside the OSCEs is limited to these are actors, I think it's a huge impact.
I think I don't know. I was just more comparing the pressure between the pressure of passing and just the pressure of getting getting it right, like referring and doing things like that. But like when you're maybe it's different when you're local because you have a different local guidelines and things. But when like you're a resident somewhere, you already know the pathway. So like you see this, you're like, okay, we're AMD, I know where you're going. Cool, bye. I'll send the referral off later today. Do you know what I mean?
There's a bit of truth to that.
But that's I think when I say pressure, that's what I mean. It's like you're kind of normal. It feels normal. You're kind of accustomed to that kind of seeing these kind of different things, and something's become so common that it just doesn't phase you anymore. You're just like, okay, well,
it's just experience.
I just write a referral. Whereas in the OSCE, you're genuinely like, okay, I'm going to pass this. How am I doing? Am I getting this right? Am I getting this wrong? How many stations have I passed? That kind of thing. So I feel like there was much more pressure in the OSCE in that aspect than when you're just in a clinic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think you can go through the OSCE counting stations though, otherwise you'll lose all your mental focus. You've got to just leave the station and forget about it and not keep a track of things and leave the OSCE building and then try and recall all the stations and think about what you've passed or what you've not passed. There's no benefit to keeping a mental score of it because you're just wasting your own time.
I had a rest station right at the very end.
I had my second station was rest station.
You didn't have it
I
right
had
at the very end.
I had like
I was
4.
asking to leave.
I had like 5 stations, then rest, and then another 6, and then rest, and then the rest.
So ideal then.
Ideal.
But yeah, we'll cover OSCEs in more depth in future
Yeah,
episodes.
yeah.
Thanks for joining us again. Hopefully see you next week.